back to Chair Pilates with Lou. We're going to do some lower body work. So building on from what we learned in our first session about sitting upright off the back of the chair so that we're utilising our core and back muscles, we're going to take ourselves to the front edge of the chair once more. So lift yourself on up, take a soft breath in and float the sternum, soften through the shoulders. On the exhale, we're imagining we're doing up that thick leather belt over the hip bones once more, flattening the abdominals from hip bone to buckle up time. Now we're going to start with some calf pedaling. We're going to look at the lower lines of the feet and then run up through the legs. So we're going to start pedaling through the feet. You're going to lift one heel off of the ground, roll up through the arch and come to press onto the ball of the foot. Take a soft breath in and on the exhale, push the heel down as you roll through the opposite arch of the foot, coming onto the ball of the foot of the opposite leg. Good. Inhale and then exhale to pedal. Good. Now as we pedal across, we're very gentle with the weight that we roll through the arches of the feet, but we are aware that we're coming off the ball of off the heel of the foot, rolling through the arch, lifting up towards the kneecap through that sole of the foot, and coming onto the ball of the foot itself. Pedaling gently, you can use a little pressure through your hands into the front of your thighs, such as I am, if you want to make the workload a little bit greater. Gentle pedaling. Good. In a moment, we'll hold for a nice foot stretch. Stay upright, try to keep the sternum floated. Stay off the back of the chair, keep the abdominals working. Good. One. Come back to the ground with one heel, lift up through the arch of the sole of one foot and push down into the ball of the foot. If you need to, draw the foot a little bit closer towards the alignment under the knee or the chair leg. And now hinge yourself gently forwards at the hip bones, lowering the chest forwards to really get a nice foot stretch. Good, let it go. Let's take it to the other side. Roll off the heel, come onto the ball of the foot, lifting the arch of the sole high. Shuffle the foot back if you want to realign it underneath the knee or more towards the back of the chair leg. Really lift on up and hinge forwards from the hips as if you were bending just at the hip joint. Try to keep your back nice and neutral. Try to keep the sternum floated. A nice gentle foot stretch here. Good, gently release. Lovely, let's go into some hamstring work. I'm going to turn to the side. So still staying seated on the edge of the chair, you can see that there's a gap between my knees and the seat's edge. I'm sitting upright, floating the sternum. A nice soft breath in to lift the pelvic floor. Exhale to focus on flattening through those abdominals from hip bone to hip bone. Stay off the back of the chair. So we're going to go for some little hamstring curls to activate the back of the leg. I'm going to use my pressure through the sole of my foot, my sock dragging on the ground here. I'm going to reach forwards with the front leg, just a gentle stretch at the front of the leg here. And then on the exhale, using these abdominals, I'm going to pull the heel back and let it disappear underneath the chair to activate the hamstring. Inhale forwards and exhale, curl it back. Good. Now if I place my hands underneath the thigh, I can feel the hamstring working. If I want to make the workload a little bit stronger, I can float the foot from the mat using these abdominals, and I can push back through the heel, coming into a larger bend of the knee. Now I'm driving back through my heel as I float the foot off the ground, pushing back on the exhale to squeeze through the hamstring. Now hamstrings are really important postural muscles, so we want to make sure that we're actively engaging them here and giving them a little bit of love. Good, inhale. And exhale, bend, push the heel back, squeeze through that hamstring. Lovely, good. Now let's do 3 more. Stay upright, keep the sternum floating. Last one. Good, come back to the ground, relax the leg for a moment. We're going to take the movement into the other way to straighten out the knee joint, coming into leg extension to work the quadriceps, the front of the thigh. Staying upright, take your breath in for pelvic floor lifting. Exhale to focus on those abdominals, flattening from hip bone to hip bone. Rest your hands on the front of your thigh or quadricep. And then on the exhale, I want you to slide the leg forward. Squeeze your quad that's underneath your palms. Exhale and lengthen by floating the foot off the ground, straightening out the knee joint. Good, inhale, bring the foot back down. Feel that activation underneath your palm. As you slide the leg forward, exhale, squeezing the quadricep to lengthen out the leg. Good, inhale. Then we're going for 12. So keep it focused on the quadricep muscle at the front of the thigh working. Really nice, strong activation running into the knee joint itself. And you may find that the foot does not float that high from the ground. It might just be a soft float, or it might be a strong activation, lengthening the leg out towards knee height. Stay upright and equally use these abdominals to help lift the leg into extension. Good. Keep floating the sternum, float the chin over the chest. Good, let's do 3. Exhale to squeeze the quadricep and lengthen, and inhale. 2. And 1. Good, feel that quadricep working under your palm, relax the leg down, let's take it to the other side. So we'll start with hamstring work. I'll change to the other side so you can see the leg that's working. I'm staying off the back of the chair, really important to train those muscles. I'm seated upright with the ribs directly over the hips. Switching on, inhale to lift the pelvic floor and float the sternum. On the exhale, where I'm switching on those muscles at the front of the belt line, I'm relaxing through the shoulders. Good, a little hamstring work first, so place the hands underneath that thigh. Using your sock, just reach forwards, a gentle extension of the leg, and on the exhale, slide your foot back, squeezing your hamstring underneath you. Now if you're able to, you can always float the foot from the ground, that makes the hamstring work greater. We can float the foot using those abdominals, flattening from belt to belt. Then as we exhale, we push the heel behind us and squeeze the heel towards our buttocks to initiate the hamstring. Inhale forwards and exhale, push the heel back, squeeze underneath the seat of the chair. Good, now underneath your leg, your hamstring group that's resting on your fingers, you should be able to feel the contracting here, particularly as you push the heel behind you, squeezing it towards your buttocks. Good, stay upright. Excellent, let's do 4. 4. Stay lifted through the spine. 3. Good. 2. Lovely, and 1. Good, rest the foot down, take a little mini break. Let's take it to the other way into that extension, straightening out the knee joint. Stay upright, inhale to lift the pelvic floor. Exhale to focus on those abdominals, flattening from hip bone to hip bone. Float the sternum, relax through the shoulders. Hands are resting on the front of that thigh for the quadricep. Good, slide the leg forwards. On the exhale, squeeze the quadricep muscle to lengthen out the leg and straighten the knee. Inhale, the foot can slide back down to the ground. Exhale, squeezing the quadricep, using those abdominals to lengthen the leg on out straight. Good, inhale. If it helps you, point through the foot. Point and squeeze. Good, inhale. Exhale, stay lifted off the back of your chair. You're going for your 12 reps, you're halfway. Good, squeeze. Squeeze. You can always flex the foot as well if it gives you a greater connection to your quadricep at the front of the thigh. Make sure you're feeling the quadricep working. Last 2. And 1. Good. Come back to the ground, have a little break. Excellent. Now we're going to utilise our hip flexor strength and abdominal work to go into our lift foot exercise. We want to stay upright and switch back onto those abdominals, starting at the very base of the pelvic floor. Inhale to lift. Exhale to flatten those abdominals. Relax the shoulders. From this point, rest your hands on the front of your thighs. On a deep exhale, imagine drawing in through those abdominals. Exhale as you lift the weight of the foot from the ground. Now the knee lifting just above your belt line. Inhale, place it down. Other side. Exhale, abdominals. Lift the weight of the foot. Inhale and down. Exhale to float. And inhale to lower. Have your hands now on your hips. And check that you're not lifting one hip off the seat of the chair. You're trying to keep the belt line level. And you're trying to use your abdominals and your hip flexor strength. Exhale to lift the foot from the ground. Now we're alternating through the sides. We're working up towards 10 on each side here, but we might only get to 4 or 5. Making sure that we're lifted and we're using the exhale to draw in through the the abdominals to lift the weight of the leg, the foot from the mat. Good. 2 more on each side. Exhale and inhale. Good, exhale and inhale. Last one. Good. Come back to the ground, switch it off and have a break. Now let's have a little back stretch. We'll come back to the legs in a minute, but let's focus on opening up through the shoulders and getting rid of some of that tension in the upper back. Now you want some space between you and the chair for this one, and you want to sit on the very front edge of that chair. You want to plant your feet and make sure you feel nice and grounded with soft or bent knees. Sitting upright, we'll switch on. Take it in with breath to lift the pelvic floor, floating the sternum. On an exhale, we're focusing on those abdominal connections at the front of the pelvis, lifting the abdominals inside. Now the shoulders are away from the earlobes. We're going to float our hands on up to clasp around a very nice wide beach ball. Take a breath in here. Drop your chin so that you're looking down between your thighs, and on the exhale, pull the fingertips away from the chest, round through the upper back. Spread the shoulders wide and barrel out the chest. Get a good stretch, and then inhale, release, bring the fingertips to float back towards your chest, float your chin. On an exhale, pull the fingertips away, making sure you're widening through the shoulders to round out through the upper back, and then inhale to float yourself upright. Float your chin. Good, inhale, drop chin to chest, exhale, reach away. Good. Inhale, lift yourself upright, fingertips travel back towards you, float your chin, 2 more. Chin to chest, exhale, pull away. Good, inhale to float. Last one, on the exhale, pull the fingertips away, chin to chest, round through the upper back, get a nice stretch, and inhale, softly float the hands back towards you. Float your chin upright and rest here. Good. Now let's stretch through the hamstrings. We're staying on the very edge of the chair once more. We're staying upright and we're making sure we switch on to support the lower back. Now we're going to lengthen one leg in front and flex through the foot. Pull the toes up towards your nose, push the heel down. You're going to run your hands onto the bent knee, take a deep breath in, and hinging forwards from the hips, push down through that straight leg. Push into the ground through the heel, and if you find that your neck is very tense, drop your chin and look down at your toes. Good, take a deep breath in and out, and enjoy this little hamstring stretch at the back of the leg. Good, the further forward you take the chest over that straight leg, the deeper the stretch becomes, and we're holding our stretch for 5 to 10 breaths. Deep breath in and out here, just allow the back of the leg to stretch. Good. Last breath in and out. We're going to gently lift the chest upright at the hips, bending at that front knee to place the foot back on the ground, and we're going to change sides. Stay upright, support yourself with those abdominals. Good, lengthen out that front leg, push down through the heel, lift the toes up towards your nose. Take a deep breath in, place your hands on the bent knee. On an exhale, push down through that straight leg into the heel, lift the toes towards your nose, and hinge your chest forwards to start stretching at the back of the legs, the hamstring group. A deep breath in and out, make sure the toes are pointed up towards you. The further forwards you take the chest over the straight leg, the more intense the stretch becomes at the back of your pelvis down to your knee. Deep breath in and out. Remember, you can drop your eyes to look down at your toes if you need to relax that neck. Good. Holding for your 5 to 10 breaths. Keep breathing. Let's make this our last breath in and out. Lovely. Let's release, bringing the chest upright of the hips, bending at that knee and sliding the foot back to meet it. Have a little rest here. Now, inner thigh connections are really responsible for helping knee tracking, and that's something we're going to work on with the use of a squash ball or maybe a rolled up towel or a pillow. You're going to pop it between your thighs, not on your kneecaps and not up in your groin, but just before the knee joint itself. Now I'm just holding it here. I'm looking down at the feet and making sure the feet are in line with my knees. I'm going to sit upright and take a nice soft breath in. Now I'm going to concentrate on squeezing into the ball as if to burst it. I want my abdominals on to support this, and I want to stay as upright through the spine as possible, resting my hands just on my thighs. On my exhale, I'm going to squeeze on in to burst the ball. Good, and then inhale to slowly release, coming back to the ball floating. Squeezing inwards. On the exhale, squeeze to burst, utilising my inner thighs, and inhale. Good, exhale to squeeze, and inhale. Good, we're going to go for 12. We've got 8, squeeze to burst, and inhale. Good, exhale, squeeze, and inhale in. Good, exhale, squeeze to burst, and inhale in. Stay upright, try not to round through that back. Keep yourself supported, floating the sternum, and use the inner thighs to squeeze to burst the ball. Good. Lovely. Keep it going. 3 more. Exhale, squeeze inwards and inhale to release. Squeeze, inhale, release. Last one, squeeze to burst. Inhale, release. Lovely. Keeping the ball where it is. It's just floating. You're not squeezing or bursting it anymore. You're going to try and connect to your glutes. So if you want to, shuffle yourself back to seat in your chair. You want to make sure that you're holding the ball floating. We're not losing the knee or feet alignment, but we want to connect to our glute max. So staying upright, switch on, making sure pelvic floor and abdominals are connected. And then on the exhale, I want you to squeeze your bum really, really tight against the seat of the chair. Both glutes squeezing to 100%. And then inhale to release. To make this movement a little bit more conscious, place your hands underneath your buttocks. Now you should have nice soft glutes, soft bowls of jelly in your palms. Sitting upright, take your breath in. On the exhale, as you squeeze to burst, or squeeze to snatch your glutes, I also want you to snatch your pelvic floor up, as if you're going to sneeze or jump in the air. And then inhale to softly release. Your glutes are soft bowls of jelly again. So on the exhale, squeeze and snatch. Snatch the glutes and the pelvic floor up, and then inhale to release. Do that for 10. Squeeze, exhale, snatch, and inhale to release. Try not to squeeze the ball, just let it float between your knees. Squeeze to snatch, exhale, and inhale. The inhale is really important. We're letting the pelvic floor soften. Good, keep it going. Squeeze on the exhale and snatch, and inhale, release. You should be feeling that each buttocks is working quite strongly as you squeeze and at the same time. Good. Last 2, exhale, squeeze and snatch. Inhale to release. Our last one, squeeze and snatch. Good, and inhale to release. Beautiful, relax your buttocks. Take your hands out from underneath them here. So since we've worked out that we'll be utilising the glutes, we're going to do a little hip stretch here to focus on opening up through the glutes itself. If you're unable to get into this position, don't worry about it. Skip this one, come back to it later when you're ready, or just completely ignore it. So from the seated position, with my ribs aligned over my hips upright, I'm going to come into what's called a figure 4. So you need to have hip mobility in order to do this. You want to switch on those abdominals to support you. Place your hands around the thigh. On the exhale, lift the foot from the ground using your hands to support you. And if you're able to, cross over one leg on top, resting the ankle joint just above the knee of the supporting leg. Now you want to stay upright and take a deep breath in and begin to push this knee down as if you're opening up the side and the front of your hip complex itself. And you're breathing very gently. Now if you're very tight through the hips, this could be as far as you get. And this might be where you stay for your 10 long deep breaths in and out. If you want to make your stretch bigger, you can place your hand around the sole of the foot and the ankle. Take a deep breath in and gently push the knee down as you hinge yourself gently forwards. And that'll start to get you a nice deep glute stretch on the bent leg that we are focused on pushing downwards on very gently. Deep breath in and out, and just focus on opening out through the side of the hip. Again, if you cannot get into the stretch, it's too much for you. Just leave it alone. We'll come back to it at another stage. Good, nice deep breath in and out. Excellent, let's change sides. So gently release. Use your hands to help you bring the foot back to the ground, and then take it to the other side. So the abdominals are on, you're sitting nice and tall. Hands around the thigh, you're going to lift it and place the ankle just above the knee joint of the bent leg. Start by pushing this knee down and away from you. Sit upright so you're able to feel the side of your hip and your glutes starting to stretch. Deep breath in and out. Now this might be where you stay, remember, just to focus on the side of the hip opening. If you want to make your stretch bigger, place your hand just on the sole of your foot and your ankle. Take a deep breath in as you gently push this knee down. We're going to hinge our hips forward so the chest is aligned over our shin. And we're breathing in and out nice and deeply. Just stretching into the side of the hip and the glute. Good, try not to force down, just have a little amount of pressure. That's all that you need. Working towards your 5 to 10 deep long breaths in and out. Excellent. From here, we're gently going to release, bringing the chest back over the hips. Stop pushing this knee down. Uncross, running the hands on the thighs to support, bringing the foot back to the mat. So now we're going to take a standing upright position. We're going to stand and hold on to the chair. I'm going to turn to the side to show you. You could be behind the chair if you'd like a lot more stable balance, if you tend to lose your balance forwards. I'm standing to the side. This makes it a little bit more tricky. I'm going to start with calf raises. So as you can see, I'm standing upright. I'm taking a nice soft breath in, relaxing the shoulders and floating the sternum. Now what you want to focus on is keeping your back in this nice neutral position, utilising your abdominal muscles. So again, that thick leather belt is wrapped over the hip bones. You're flattening those abdominals to buckle up nice and tight. Hand on the chair, hand on the hips to support you. On a deep exhale, you're going to start to lift your heels off the ground. Gently roll through the arches of your feet and lift onto the ball of your foot. You're really connecting to the back of your calves and your Achilles. And then you're going to slowly come down, inhale. So on the exhale, we lift ourselves. And then inhale to come down. So you're working through the back of that bottom leg. We're working through the calf muscles here. And if you want to make it harder, we can add some arm movements. So as we peel the heels off, exhale, we're going to reach on up through the calves. We can float the arm to chest height, and then inhale, bring the arm back to the side as we bring the heels down. Keep these abdominals working. Exhale, reach on up. Good, and then inhale, come on down. Equally, to make it more challenging, we could use 2 arms to float, and that would really challenge our balance, as well as our ankle mobility and our abdominal connection. Good. So without the chair is a lot more workload on those abdominals, as well as that ankle mobility. Good, working towards your 12. Have the hand on the chair if you need. Good, 3 more. Exhale, peel off those heels and roll up through the arch of your foot. Come onto the ball, and then inhale to lower. Last one, lift on up, and then inhale, come down. Good. Let's now shift to look at standing balance. Again, using the chair if you need your balance prop. I'm resting the hand gently onto the chair's edge, and I'm thinking about keeping my belt nice and parallel. I have a little soft bend in my knees and my feet are hip width. Make sure you've got good standing posture. From this position, you're going to exhale, use your abdominals to float 1 foot off the ground, bringing the knee to your hip, and inhale, take it down. Use your balance, use this knee, drive it forwards in that standing one leg. Exhale, use those abdominals and the hip, flex up to lift the foot from the mat. Stay upright, exhale, float, and inhale to lower. Good, so we're going to work on 10 in our standing balance. You want to really push down through that standing one leg. Keep the shoulders and the belt line nice and parallel. Good, those abdominals are lifting the foot from the mat and inhaling to lower. Excellent, exhale and inhale. Good, 2 more. This really tests my balance too. So if you find you can do it without the added prop of a chair, by all means, take your hand off and see if you can balance. Now that we've done that forwards balance, let's do it out to the side. So we're going to lift the foot. We're going to then take it out to the side, elongating the leg. We can float the toes or tap down to the ground if we need. Then we're going to bring the knee back in line with the hip. Lift it up, take it out to the side, using those core muscles, pushing down through that one standing leg, and then coming back to knee over hip, inhale. Again, without using the chair for balance, we're using a lot more of those postural muscles, and it's a little bit more challenging. You could take your hand off your chair and see if your balance is there. It's close at hand, so you can always come back to using it if you need. Good, working towards your 10 in your side standing balance. Lifting with those abdominals, the weight of the foot from the mat, knee to hip. Take it out to the side. Slide yourself back in. Inhale, exhale. Out to the side. Inhale. Good, last one. Out to the side. And inhale. Lovely, take a little rest. So we're going to finish on this side looking at hip extension. I'm going to turn my chair. So 2 hands can place on the chair's edge, and you can use this at any point if you need. I'm going to make sure I'm not going to push forwards because my chair will slide. But I'm going to keep my one standing leg working in my standing balance. You'll notice I'm on the ball of 1 foot. I've lifted the heel on off. Now I'm going to slide this foot behind me, keeping my abdominals on. I'm going to extend the leg, exhale, squeeze the glute max as I push the heel behind me, keeping my hips forwards. Inhale, bending at the knee, sliding the foot on in. Exhale, slide the leg behind you, squeeze the glute to draw your leg into nice long leg extension. Hips stay forwards and balanced. Inhale in. Taking the foot off the ground if you choose, push the heel behind you, squeezing the glute max to float the foot from the mat. Inhale, knee comes back on in. Good, keeping the chest upright. Exhale. Squeeze that glute max. And inhale in. Lovely, working towards your 10 in your standing hip extension, balance work. Keep your chest aligned to the back of the chair. Try not to run over the chair here or hinge forwards from your hips. You want to keep yourself as upright as possible, and you're using the back muscles at the back of that hip joint itself, our glute max. Good. Last one. Push the heel behind you, squeeze your glute into leg extension, keep the hips forwards, and then inhale, come back on in, have a rest. Let's repeat that the other side. Standing 1 leg balance. So the leg that we were working, floating it from the mat and out to the side and behind us, is now the standing leg. So we want to make sure we've got a nice soft knee. We're really pushing down to ground ourselves in. We've got our hip, our knee and our foot aligned, and the shoulders and belt line are level. Hand on the chair if you need. It could be to the side. You could have it in front of you if you want to work with a little bit more contact to your balance prop. Now you're going to peel your heel off. You're using your abdominals, so switch on to that flattening connection from hip bone to hip bone. And on the exhale, float the foot from the mat, knee lifting above your hip. Exhale the abdominals, lift the weight of the leg, and inhale, tap it down. Keep the belt line from lifting on up when you lift the foot. On the exhale, float, and inhale to tap. Stay upright with the chest floating and the shoulders relaxed. Again, you're working towards your 10. Push down through that standing 1 leg balance. And try not to let the ankle roll on out. Try to keep the knee aligned with your hip bone and your foot. Good. Once you've done your 10 in your standing front leg balance, have a little rest. Switch off those abdominals, not forgetting to switch them back on before you take it out to the side. So we're going to float the foot gently from the mat. Exhale, we reach on out to the side, keeping the hips and the shoulders level. Inhale, slide the leg back on in. Good, exhale to float and out to the side. Tap down if you need. Inhale, slide back on in. Exhale, out to the side. Floating the foot is much more challenging. Inhale, slide back on in. Equally, not holding onto the chair and reaching on out to the side is a little bit more challenging on that standing 1 leg balance. Good. Working towards your 10. Make sure you align your hips and your shoulders. You're not losing your standing balance. Good. Make this your last one. Come back on in and have a little rest. Turning my chair, I'm going to take it now to the back of that hip complex. We're looking at our glute max. So from here, making sure I'm on the ball of my foot, I've got a soft bend in that supporting leg. Keeping the chest upright, I'm going to slide the leg behind me. Exhale, squeezing the glute into leg extension. Inhale, sliding it back on in. Stay upright, don't hinge forwards over your chair. Slide on out, squeezing your glute max, your big glute muscles, bring the leg to extension, and inhale, slide it in. Taking the foot away from the ground, you're pushing back through the heel, squeezing the glute. Inhale in. Good, exhale, push back. Keep the chest upright over the hips. Try to float that sternum and relax the shoulders. Don't bend over your chair. Exhale and inhale. Good, working towards your 10. You can take rests whenever you need to. Excellent, final 4. Exhale and inhale. Good. Lovely, last one. Slide the leg behind you, squeezing the glute. And then inhale, slide back on in and have a rest. Now we're going to do some mini squats. I'm standing at the back of the chair with both hands on the chair's back here. I've got a little space between me and the chair, enough so that when I bend my knees I'm not going to bang into the back. I want to stay upright. Again, I'm working in neutral spine, which means I'm not trying to hinge forwards, arch my lower back, or tuck my bum all the way under. That's not how these work. We're working with glute max engagement and we really want to feel the legs work. Look down at the feet and make sure the feet are hip width, and we've got nice soft knees. We take a nice soft breath in, and on the exhale we're going to switch on by lifting those abdominals inside the front of the pelvis, wrapping the leather belt and doing it up over the hip bones. Now I'm going to imagine I'm sitting on the edge of a toilet seat. So as I exhale, I'm going to push my bum back, softly bending in my knees to bring my sternum towards the edge of the chair. Then pushing through the heels, exhale, push myself upright using my abdominals. Good, inhale, push the bum back, softly bend through the knees. Exhale, push yourself on upright. Good, keep it going, inhale. And exhale. Now for those of you that have any pelvic floor issues, that might be that you have a slight weakness or you feel a lower back ache when you squat, you're going to work on your pelvic floor recruitment and this will help with that. So before you move into your squat, which is a lot of downward pressure through your pelvic floor, you're going to take a nice soft breath in and imagine lifting or squeezing the front and back muscles that control the weeing, pooing, letting go of gas throughout your system. So you've got a gentle lift here, and that's where you begin to push the bum back and down, knowing that the pelvic floor is lifted and recruited and that the direct pressure is not pushing downwards through it. Now on the exhale, scoop in through the abdominals to push yourself away from the ground and come upright. You're working towards your 10, so take the bum back, inhale, and then exhale, push against the ground to use your leg muscles and your core to bring you on up. Good, let's do 3 together. Exhale. Inhale, recruiting the pelvic floor, lifting, squeezing front and back passage if you need, and then exhaling to use those legs and abdominals. Last one, inhale. And exhale. Good, have a little rest. Let's finish this session with some lovely roll downs. We did the seated version in our first session. We're going to do the standing version using the chair. So you can stand to the side of the chair if your balance is more able and you'd like to work deeper through the roll down of the spine. I'm going to use the chair as a prop to show you. So I make sure that I'm standing upright with my feet hip width and knees are soft. I'm going to switch on to that band of abdominals over the hip bones once more and take a nice soft breath in. Now to begin with, you're going to drop your chin towards your chest. You want to look down towards your toes. Now you're opening the back of your head and neck very slowly. And then on the exhale, you're going to sink your forehead down towards the back of the chair, sinking the ribs towards the hips, rounding through the upper back, allowing the upper body to fold towards the back of the chair here. Keep the knees soft, and as you lower your forehead down to the back of the chair, take a nice soft breath in and hold. On the exhale, you're going to push into the back of the chair to use your upper body, push into your legs through your heels, scoop your abdominals and start to roll yourself upright, stacking the vertebrae tall once more, and then lift tall. Good, do that again. Drop the chin to the chest, inhale, look down, sink the ribs towards the hips, exhale, sink the forehead in front of the chest line, allowing the abdominals to scoop and flatten as you roll your upper back forwards, rounding out, and dropping the forehead towards the back edge of the chair with soft bent knees. Take a nice soft breath in, pushing down through the chair, exhale, push into your heels, scoop your abdominals and stack yourself upright. Good, so if you're comfortable with that modified version of a roll down, just taking yourself more towards the belt line and the edge of the chair, by all means stay there. If you want a little bit more mobility and you're able to work through a deeper rolling open of the spine, Have your hand on the chair's edge. Take a nice soft breath in. Drop the chin to the chest. Exhale, sink the ribs towards the hips. Now we're going to go lower in this roll down, so I'm going to have slightly bent knees. As I let my head roll in front of my belt line, I'm letting the upper back round forwards. Arm is dropping forwards out the armpit joint. Head is heavy from the neck. I'm sinking the upper body forwards and down. Now I'm stopping where my eye line is roughly in line with my shin, with my thighs. Taking a nice deep breath in. Exhale to scoop through those abdominals, pushing through the heels. I'm starting to push my hands into the back of the chair, and I'm rolling myself upright one vertebrae at a time. Good, take a nice deep breath in at the top, float the chin, and go once more, chin to chest. Exhale, sink the ribs towards the hips. Good, scooping out those abdominals, we're sinking the chest line forwards in front of the belt line. Head is nice and loose. We're rolling ourselves down, so we're looking roughly at our quads. Take a deep breath in. Pushing through the heels, exhale, scoop through those abdominals. Push the hand gently into the chair and help yourself to roll back on up tall. Take a nice deep breath in at the top and you're all finished. I'll see you next week where we'll work on using a little bit of weight to process those exercises we've learned in our first 2 sessions. Have a good week. See you next week.